Okay guys, so a lot of people have been asking me to do videos like this lately, so today's a good day to do it. And today I have push day, and first movement is incline dumbbell press. Now, with this, you know, with every single movement, especially compound movements, I really warm up a lot. I warm up a lot because it's a compound movement. Compound meaning it works more than one muscle group. So, you know, I started off with 20s, 40s here, and I don't count my reps or sets for warm up. I just go with the flow, and when I'm ready, my body's ready, that's when I start my working set. So, second warm up set here, 40s. Alright, so a lot of people treat warm-up sets as working sets, and it's kind of like, doesn't really make sense, but you hear a lot of people asking, you know, what do you do for warm-up? How much weight do you do for warm-up? In reality, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's warm-up for a reason. You know, you don't jump into it unless you feel like that's your working weight. So, with warm-up sets, it's a good, I guess, a way to kind of tell your body how to perform the movement that certain day. So every day is a different day, and you know, sometimes your form's off, sometimes you feel good, sometimes you don't feel good. So I treat my warm-up weight as the working weight also, in terms of form. So however I'm going to do that heavy weight that day, that's exactly how I perform the warm-up weight. Okay guys, going a little higher rep today. 12 reps, 10 to 12 reps with, I got 80 pounds here, and I went from 20s and started with 20s for warm up, and then I went all the way to 65. So I got 80s here. It's gonna be my first working set, 10 to 12, about 4 sets. So, incline, I said I was gonna do 10 to 12 with the 80s. I ended up only doing 8 to 9. And after the first set, I got weaker, a lot weaker. I took longer rests, but you know, the strength really wasn't there today. And I'm having a good workout so far, but I think that my body is in need of a deload. So I'm going to take a deload next week, just for about a week or so, just to kind of play by ear and see where I'm at. I've been pushing it pretty hard lately with the weight, and I think that's why, you know, like calories are dropping, and so you can't maintain it all the time. Your body kind of needs a little bit of quote-unquote rest. Your central nervous system does need recovery, and you know, you can either take certain days off or you can take a deload, which I choose to do, and pretty much lift about 65% of my working max. So I'm gonna go about 7 days with that. But second movement here, have incline hammer strength, and going to go about 95% of the way up, not lock out on my triceps. Just go 95% of the way up, and keep the weight at plate and a quarter, and go 10 to 12 reps. Keep it pretty controlled. You know, yesterday's workout was definitely an indicator that my body needs it. So that's the mindset right now. You know, I have a good pump going on right now, and feeling warm, feeling good, but strength is definitely dropping, and you know, it takes a toll on you, and you kind of overthink it sometimes. But just gonna finish this workout, gonna kill it. So feeding off of this, if you guys saw my posing update, I'm currently 156 pounds even. The past 2 weigh-ins have been 156, which is a clear indicator that I am 156. And I would say that I'm about 10%, 9.5 to 10% body fat. Now you may think, man, you're at 156, 10%, that's a lot. And that's a lot of weight and relative to how much I weigh. So if you're a 200-pound person and you're 10% body fat, you have to lose 20 pounds. So if you're heavier, you have more body fat to lose or more weight to lose in relative to your percentages. So I would estimate that I am 9.5 to 10%. Now, it's gonna be a rough 16 weeks, but you know, with you guys' support, I really have it, and the workouts are taking a toll. But at the end of the day, like, you guys are pushing me and really to just keeping me going, because it's like, I don't know, I'm feeling like yesterday was just after the workout actually. I felt my body going through something different. I feel like I'm changing inside, just the way I perceive things. And I think that it definitely has to do with the workout. Obviously, it has to do with deficit and everything like that. All the factors, they really add up, but I feel like I am changing a lot. But, you know, it's at this point in prep where, you know, when things do get hard and you look to certain things differently, you have to remember that the people around you are still around you. So you have to have a clear conscience about like what's going around you, because you still have to make time for those that you love, for the ones that matter to you. You know, you can't just because you're on a prep, you know, you just ignore everything else, because at the end of the day, you have to remember that you chose this. And this is speaking in terms of for the people that are, you know, doing something, anything in their life. You know, like when something overcomes you, you have to remember that you still have a life and you still have people around you that should matter. So that's what's going on, guys. You know, like, we're talking a lot during this workout, but it's been a lot on my mind, and I wanted to, I don't know, I never read. It's kind of like strange, but I never read, and I think I'm actually going to start, whether maybe not reading, but like having audiobooks. But yeah, guys, gonna hit this next set, so let's go. All right, guys, next movement, third movement is cable flies. Now, for me, it really doesn't matter, I'm gonna check and see, but it really doesn't matter where you go for cable flies, because at the end of the day, it's a stretching movement. I go with this movement for stretching, not for contracting. You know, I do squeeze at the top, but mostly I go for stretch, you know. So with this movement, with my handle grip, when I do grab the handle, when I come back, I don't restrict it. I let my hands roll with the handle. So as the handle is turning when I'm coming back, I allow my hands to do so. And for me, it's like the easiest on my shoulder. I feel the most on my chest instead of my shoulders. Because a lot of people, when they do cable flies, they say, I feel a lot on my front delt. So for me, it alleviates it, and I feel it the best way possible with this. So I'm gonna do a couple sets here, about 12 to 15. Really keep it controlled, not too fancy. So I go one at a time usually. Check my shoulders, guys. Okay, fourth movement, dumbbell lateral raises. My favorite all-time shoulder movement, and you know, I have two variations to doing this. I either do one arm leaning against a pole, you know, I grab the pole and I kind of tilt on one side, or I do two arm at a time. And for lateral raises, I don't really like to go heavy. You know, a lot of people do, but for me, it's a very very small movement. It's kind of like a compound movement, but treat it as an isolation exercise. But you know, I do it to where very controlled, and I only want to feel it in my lateral head of my shoulder. So with that is kind of, when I come up, my hands, I kind of treat it as I'm pouring a cup of coffee. So as I'm coming up, kind of tilt my hands to where my elbow arches upward. And you know, it's a very simple movement, but it can be done wrong in a lot of ways. A lot of people do it wrong. You know, they come too high up, or they feel in their rear delts or their front delts, or anything like that. But for me, I go light, and I go 12 to 15 reps. Very, very controlled movement. So. Movement is a fairly new movement to me. I've been incorporating this lately. I like this movement a lot because I don't really do it very often on free weights, and that is OHP. So OHP on resistance bands, I don't know why, but the barbell OHP really hurts my shoulder. It puts a bit of discomfort. So it's kind of like, I don't want to do a movement that causes discomfort, you know? So I do some band work. So pretty much what you do is you get the band and put it on your feet, obviously. Evenly disperse the band and bring it up to your chest, pop it up here, just as if you were doing barbell OHP. So that's pretty much it. 5 sets of 12 to 15. Explode. So this movement itself creates kind of a burn. So on the way down, the weight is almost non-existent. On the way up is when it's at its fullest resistance, obviously. So this creates a lot of explosiveness and puts a lot of work on my tricep and also front delt without really stressing the elbows too much. And you know, it's not dangerous. It's not a dangerous movement to where, you know, if you kind of mess up on OHPs or anything like that, you can snap your back or anything. But with resistance band, it's something different. It's a very, very different form of training, and I really like it. I've been incorporating a lot of band work into my regimen. And so if you guys have bands at your gym, or you own a set of bands, definitely give this a shot. So this is also a good way to warm up your rotator cuffs, your anterior, posterior, your lateral delts, everything. So I do this at the beginning of my workout for mobility, for dynamic stretching, and also as a movement itself. So give that a shot, guys. Okay, so third muscle group in my push workout, obviously the smallest one, which is tricep. And you know, even though I'm heavily into my workout already, that doesn't mean that I don't still warm up, because you know, I just hit shoulder, and this is obviously a isolation movement. So moving on to some tricep push downs on the cables, and I still warm up. I go all the way up, and I got 40 pounds here on the resistance, and I'm gonna treat it just like I'm treating the dumbbell presses, just like I'm treating every other compound movement. I'm gonna warm up because, you know, you don't want injury, you don't want elbow tendonitis, you don't want any injury. So prevention is key, guys. It takes a little bit to prevent a lot. So, you know, 2 minutes to warm up can prevent a lifetime of injury. So let's go. Second tricep exercise and last movement of the push workout is I like to do, for triceps that is, in regards to triceps, I like to do one push down movement and one overhead movement. Now obviously overhead is for a different head of the tricep, and it's a relatively light movement. So what I do here is on the cables, I set the pulley to about halfway up to where I can actually pull it up, and I go one arm at a time. Sometimes I use the rope, sometimes I don't, and I like to really go really light on this movement, really stretch the tricep a lot, and do 12 to 15 reps, really feel it. It's not a heavy movement, it's not a compound movement or anything like that. It's just for stimulation purposes to really just exhaust the triceps at the end. So I always do this at the very, very end because it's such a light movement. 4 sets here, let's go.